Welcome to The Objective Dad. My name is Matt, and today is Thursday, April 9th, 2020. Today we're going to talk about something pretty serious. What to do when a friend confides in you that they're going to attempt suicide. So let me just start things off by saying that I am not qualified to give actual advice on suicide or to kind of help somebody who's going through it. I strongly encourage you if you like are immediately in this situation, to have them call or to call the National Suicide Prevention Line. That's 1-800-273-8255. So this isn't something this video isn't going to be about giving somebody advice and kind of talking them through it. um, you know, that's not my background and that's not my expertise. So, again, I strongly encourage you to, call the hotline or seek some other professional help or guidance. What I am going to deal with is that specific issue because I was very recently put into this situation where, a friend came to me and said that somebody that they knew and they were close to confided in them that this other person was going to attempt suicide after a short period of time. And one of the struggles that I saw in this situation was I'm breaking a confidence. This person told me don't tell anybody I'm about to do this. And that put my friend in a really difficult situation, I think. And I saw how they were struggling with this person that I'm close to is going to do something horrible potentially. And we have a good friendship that's been built over time. And so they didn't know what to do. And I'm happy that they spoke with me. And the truth is I would have never thought to do a video on this, unless I was, unless this situation happened to me. I would never thought to do a video on it because the answer is so clear cut. When acting to prevent a suicide attempt of a friend, it's certainly morally sound to betray that confidence. I feel very strong and confident in my own view on that. And it got me thinking, why was it so easy for me to get there, and why was my friend who came to me, why was it so difficult for them? So I started thinking about that, and I wanted to maybe unpack the things that are in play. And the the more I thought about it, I realized that there's some big boy issues involved here. You have to understand really what's the nature of friendship, and how does that relate to to morality, and what values come into play, and how is that confidence built? Is it a real friendship? And there's a lot of really big things that I think come into play. And I believe that's why it was so difficult to betray the confidence even when life is on the line. So I'll start off by going over just some of these things that I mentioned before about what is a friend. And I think friendship is something that happens. It's a confident recognition of common values among individuals. And go through a few examples in your that are personal or close to you right now. And if you pick your best friend or your best three friends, you can start to see that we have these things in common. We both, it could be something superficial. I like cats, or I like football, or I can tell this person anything, and we're going the same direction in life, and we like to help each other, and it feels good. That's what I'm talking about. The things that you value with these close best friends is it feels good when you help them out, because like I said, you're going the same direction in life. And and that's why when somebody there's trust. And anytime that you have confidence, that's something that needs to be built over time. Confidence is a measure of how predictable somebody's behavior is. And if I see somebody acting like a goof for 90% of the time, I expect that out of them. I have a confidence. But if I also observe somebody else who is pursuing the same things that I am, and is helpful and generally good natured, my confidence is that they're going to continue to do positive things. And that's kind of important too, because if in this particular situation, it was a long-term friendship. So that confidence was established over time between these two individuals. So it was a real strong friendship is the thing that I'm trying to get across. So friendship in itself, I use the word values 3 or 4 times, and I think the next logical thing is to go ahead and start to unpack that. Um, a value is basically, that which you work to pursue and preserve. I value my paycheck every week, so I'm going to, do do very specific sets of things to make sure that I keep getting a paycheck, because that feeds my family, it keeps my life and my livelihood, it keeps the light, all these great things that I'm trying to pursue and preserve. Like, the value is simply that. And I think that's an easy enough concept to understand. You can have, there's a lot of values open to people. Some of them are benign, some of them are very important. So if I like, the Steelers versus the Browns, yeah, technically that's a value. I want to preserve the winning streak of the team that I like. But in terms of on the global scale of where values, of importance, that one's probably on the lower end, at least to a non-sports fan. Um, so I guess the bigger question is that, so how do you like what is this ranking of values? And I'm going to throw one more bit of terminology out, and then drill into it a little bit, and that's morality itself. Morality is really this integrated hierarchy of values, and that's a really good model, that I didn't come up with, full disclosure, but that's a really good model to think about, how important values are to a person. So I value, my daughter and my wife above my car. It's a hierarchy. I value my car above the fan on my desk. It's a hierarchy. So, everybody has the freedom to choose and to pick, which values, which things that they're going to pursue and preserve, and you rank them, because you can't have everything. Reality just won't let you do that. So you have to kind of come up with this hierarchy. And the good news is that most healthy people have very similar hierarchies. And you can, if you look out in the world, you can kind of see where folks run into problems where their hierarchies are dramatically different. If you look at the I'll pick on them again, the Democrats and the Republicans, you have some fundamental values that put you on one side or the other. And a lot of times Democrats and Republicans are friends. There's enough other stuff to kind of pull them together. There's enough, values that are in common, and that friendship can develop. A lot of times there's not. A lot of times, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this. You're on, Facebook, and people who you grew up with who start to have divergent political values. You either quit talking, or you defriend, or you get in debates, and that's kind of part of it. And but the reason why that there's that tension there is because you have a different hierarchy of values. So morality is becoming different. The more you talk about it, those differences are exposed. And again, the definition of friendship is the confident recognition of common values among individuals. So if those common values aren't there, the friendship is not possible. Okay, lots of background. So I'm going to focus in on morality, a little bit more, and kind of relate it to the suicide question. And that is, so if these values are structured in a hierarchy, what's at the top? And at the top, you really have to have your own life. You can't value anything more than your own life from a certain point of view. And that is that without your life, nothing else is possible. If I were to pass and somebody, comes into my house and takes the fan off my desk, or steals my car, I don't care. I'm gone. The life, it might matter to somebody else who is still alive, who inherited that, but from a personal standpoint, I have no ability to value without my life, and that really has to be at the top. That's the principal value. And it's tricky, because if you understand that valuing your own life is at the top, morality becomes both easy and hard, because it becomes easy because you now have a standard to measure other values against. So below life, I might value, a good a college education, and I pursue that, or I might value drug abuse. What's the difference? The difference is reality will let me thrive, potentially with one of those, and it'll cause, real harm to my life and likely others around me, on the other side. So you have to make sure that these values that you place on your hierarchy are consistent with each other. You don't want to pursue inconsistent or contradictory things. And the smell test, again, this is a whole field, but I'm just kind of glossing over it. The smell test is that, really any value that's harmful to your long-term well-being, it's irrational. It's bad. And it's irrational in that, if you pick your values and it's going to be harmful to you over the long term, and you value your life, it's not rational to pursue that harmful value. So that's really when, morality starts becoming more of a science, because you can kind of look at it through that, objective standard, and start to pick values that best complement your life, and make sure that all the consistencies are gone. So in most cases, a suicidal person has improperly placed another value or another values above his or her own life. And that's from a philosophical standpoint, that's a really good way to explain it. And I know it takes a lot of the emotion, and it might seem maybe a little callous, but I think in terms of this discussion, that's what's happening. And they may be warranted, they may not be, they may have, or I should say, they may believe they're warranted for doing that. The whole point of this is to get that person help. And so what do you do? So what do you do when they place that value above their own, some other value above their own life, and now they're contemplating suicide? Well, a couple things happen here. Since it's irrational to do that, and what does that do to the friendship? So if a friendship is this confident recognition of common values, and now you have all of a sudden one friend who doesn't value their own life as the principal value, the friendship at that point is really put on hold. So there's not, in this sense, you're not really able to kind of continue and relate the same way as before. Like this is a bit of a rationality in somebody due to, very likely horrible circumstances. I don't want to minimize that. But you kind of have to put your friendship on hold from a value standpoint, and you have to deal with this bit of irrationality before it can continue to grow. And you have to deal with irrationality in a very harsh way. Irrationality is like a cancer of your consciousness, and it has to be eradicated immediately before it spreads and gets worse. You can see that. If I go back to the drug abuse example, if my primary value is to go get high, what happens when I lose my job and I run out of money? Maybe I start to look at relatives that I can steal things from and get that money. So it's a cancer, like this little bit of irrationality, this one improper value. If I continue to pursue it, it's going to compromise other values. So you have to address it. So this person who confided in you that they're about to hurt themselves, you have to put that friendship on hold. They're acting irrationally, and you have to deal with that irrationality. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is not to keep it a secret and not to help them along the way and pursue this irrational value. What you have to do is get them to talk to other folks. Like I said at the beginning of the video, call them the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Type it in Google. Google actually does a really good job. If you type, I tried this a little bit ago. If you type in any questions about suicide or help, like, it immediately goes to this. So there are lots of resources out there to help. And I think it's really important to kind of have a quick answer, because people are, at very high stress level with all the layoffs and coronavirus news. Like it's a bad time right now. And, if you're not qualified to help a person, at least start exposing the fact that this is an issue and that it's a threat, and try to get them the help that they need. So that's about it. If you found this video useful, or have some feedback, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe, and hopefully you have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching.